Welcome back. It's the BW3 podcast brought to you by Schaefer's Oil as we wish you all Merry Christmas and we wrap things up for 2025, 2026, just a short time away. And gosh, a local event that's very popular, draws a lot of people in from a lot of places. It is coming back to Lebanon. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, so the I-44 Winter Shootout's returning. I think some people still think, because I'm sharing it on our old event page, that it's me doing it. I am not. I did build the track, but my crew at Willard Asphalt and the lead excavating guys teamed up and we built the track.
And you did put it on for quite a while, didn't you?
Yeah, so this was a funny story, but it was, I told Ashley we were going to build an indoor dirt track and have a go-kart race in July of 2017, I think. And then and she kind of probably, I know she laughed on the inside. I was like, yeah, he's not serious. And then October come around, I'm like, here we go. Like, and she's like, you're crazy. This is not going to work. And yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, it'll work. It'll be fine. Like, it'll work. And I'm like, man, I hope we don't lose a bunch of money on this. And she knew that I was probably not being, she thought I was being unrealistic, but I was like, if everything works the way it should, this will go and go good. And we brought in quarter midgets. Nobody knew what a quarter midget was. And I remember the first year, it was awesome. And the second year really took off. 2018 was huge. And after the 2018 one, I called Kevin Greven. I'm like, hey man, I want you to be a part of this. Here's what we got. And so we did the winter shootout. And so I guess I thought of it in 2016 and did 2017, 2018. When 2018 was the year we did two. We did December and January that year, 18/19. And it really grew fast. We actually had the winter shootout in 2020 because that was pre-COVID. And then we did not have it in 21. I got worried about, and that was a mistake, but I just didn't want to deal with lawsuits and people with, regardless of your beliefs of COVID, people could still sue you. I was worried about, and I was just advised by my insurance company, don't do it. So we did not, but we came back in 2022 and really, that was our last one we did. And it was good. I was, very successful and Low Boats came on board as a title sponsor. We raced for a boat. We did a lot of cool things and, 500 entries, I think the last one, and just really made it a cool event. It got too big for me personally. Kevin had a lot going on too. And just for us to do that event right, the way I wanted it done, I wasn't able to put the time in that needed to be put in because that's 120 to 160 hours of planning and work behind the scenes before you even build the track to do that event right. And, but Adam Johnson, who started his racing career out of our shop in Lebanon back when I was selling go-karts, they raced at Midway Speedway. All three kids. Sam Johnson now builds micro chassis and races midgets, Chili Bowl. I mean, big in the open wheel world. And then Adam's become huge in the go-kart world. They've created their own tires and done a lot of promoting and does a lot of event promoting and been friends with them for since 2009. So I feel like that's the direction it needs to go. And I had a lot of people calling wanting it back. There was a weekend open and I called Adam and I'm like, hey man, I'll build the track for you. The original plan was for Braden to race, but he is going out of town for Christmas with his mom. So he's not going to get to race now, but that's okay. But that was my original plan. I'm like, hey, Braden can race. Right. I'm just going to go be a dad and a crew chief. But we'll go hang out. So he's got 2 weekends. It's going to be this Saturday and then again next Friday, Saturday, the 26th and 27th. So, and they've already filled in the calendar for 2027. So it'll be Christmas of that year. So pretty cool event. We always do Rock the Block with Lebanon Friends of the Fort at the same time. So there's already a go-kart track built inside anyways. So this just all, it all kind of works out. So we've been building the go-kart track the last few years because the dirt's in the Civic Center anyways. So I'm like, we're already doing the work. I just didn't want to spend the time of the event promotion. So pretty cool event. And I'm going to go up, hang out Saturday, watch some of my friends, and told everybody I'm not racing. And I'm going to make myself not race. So we don't need to race in that. Just need to go have fun. So I'll go up and hang out, have fun, and enjoy the weekend.
That's still a growing sport, racing-wise?
Yeah, I think so. The cool part is, so last year we had I rented the Civic Center for this weekend last year privately and invited a bunch of our friends. We had this track built. And so Burl Woods and the Mooneyhams have created Burl Woods, Casey Mooneyham, Lake Mooneyham, all the Mooneyhams around here, got together, and Peyton Looney, they all started backyard go-kart racing. So we Tony Jackson has a track at his house. There's like 3 or 4 tracks down there. When we had Braden on the show this year, went and ran one of those races. And that's turned into a huge deal. They're getting 40 go-karts for these races. So Twister Alley's doing good. Twister Alley, when we first started in 2017, a good night at Twister Alley was 80, 90 go-karts. There are over 100 entries a night for a weekly show. They've got events 200 to 300. I feel like karting is way healthier than it was in 2017. I almost felt like 16, 17, it was, I was out of the world a little bit, but it wasn't strong around here. It may have been healthier in other places, but it wasn't good here. It's really growing right now. Everybody's got backyard tracks. I've heard of 3 or 4 more being built. Our guys around here, if you're wanting to get into racing, you can go $2,000, have you a little go-kart. There's really good rules. It's a Harbor Freight motor with very little modifications to it. They keep the tire game down, and then they take the nose off the front of the go-kart, and so it keeps the rough housing down a little bit. And the cool part about their series is leader has to run the top. So when you do leader has to run the top, instead of 1 lane lock down the bottom, it's a race. And it really helps the racetrack out too, makes your racetrack wider. But it's a lot of fun, and that's the deal. We got to keep it fun, and leaders got to run the top until like white flag, and then it's a free for all. But we had a little event last year, and that was Braden's really first race. Was that event? We had 3 other kids that we invited that was invite only, and we had a good time. And I felt like we were able to teach Braden a lot, and he had a couple days of fun, and we all had, the adults have just as much fun as the kids. And so I felt like that was, I saw that, I'm like, well, at least need to do that. And then those guys kept asking, and I'm like, man, Adam can do this and do it right. So they're going to do it right. It'll be live on Show Me Dirt both weekends, and going to be a pretty cool event, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's what our area needs. I don't racing's so hard because you just go pick up a bat and ball and play baseball, right? You go pick up a basketball, you play basketball, football. Racing, you got to have knowledge, and you got to have your family helping you out. Your dad's got to help you, your uncle, somebody's got to help you get your go-kart set up as a kid. iRacing's kind of nice because it takes some of that away, but there is a big difference between a video game and real life. And so I think karting's a great to have, and it's also a great tool to have in the winter.
It can also kind of serve as the early development stage if somebody really wants to make racing a career or a hobby or something they want to invest more time and money into.
It is. And, I've got friends that race go-karts for a living. Big money to win. And
it's not just a young kid sport.
No. A good friend of mine, he did it. He still does just development. And, anytime he gets on a go-kart, he goes and wins big money. And there's big, they race for 10, 20,000 to win races just like dirt late models. Probably more competitive than any form of motorsport because you're a quarter of, you're 100th off, 100th of a second off. And for all the, what I do like about the little Ozark Outlaw series, the 417 Outlaw series that they got going on, the leader running the top puts the driving and the fun into it. And that's the good part. You go to a big national event, it's locked down on the bottom, and it's the most cutthroat racing you've ever seen in your life, to a fault. But it's pretty cool to see that, like the winter shootout, both Gundakers came to the Gordy Gundaker was in there. Trevor Gundaker was in a quarter midget, the first one. We've had lots of guys, dirt late model kids, coming up and now that are racing dirt late models against us. The kid that Caden Klatt won junior. I don't know how many races Caden Klatt has won at the winter shootout, and I race MLRA against him. So, but yeah, it's quite a bit of fun to see the young kids come up. And Hoyt Miller won a lot of races. He drove the TJR house car in the B mods last year, so they're moving their way up, and just it's a great stepping stone, and it's a great way to keep yourself sharp for us guys in the winter.
An event like that shows another positive aspect of Lebanon having the Cowan Civic Center.
100%.
We've had it now for about 30 years, about 3 decades.
Yes.
And it just continues to be a showpiece and a centerpiece for local events and also things like this that, as we mentioned earlier, that it draws a lot of people in from the area, and thus it's an economic driver also for the community.
Jay Reynolds had his arena cross last weekend. It's AMA sanctioned now. Over 40 pro riders were here. Over 950 entries in 2 days for his motocross event. Largest one he's ever had. The grandstands were sold out. Complete. That's 3,000 people in the seats. Incredible show. And it is one step below Supercross now. Literally. It's AMA sanctioned. It is the Busch Series, going to be in 2026, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Shout out to the state of Missouri for always representing that series, right? We got Xfinity out of there. We got Missouri back in. But how about that? Like 3,000 people in the grandstands. Hotels are sold out. You're talking about the economic driver. It's huge. It really is. We've got monster trucks coming in the second week of January. A big show again. People coming in from out of town, staying the night in hotels. It's a huge economic driver. In my real job of Willard Asphalt, a lot of things we do is economic development with other cities, and I get asked to be on committees and stuff like that for economic development. And every town that we do business in, the one thing that's always said to me is, Lebanon does not know how lucky you are to have that civic center. When Kenny Cowan built that, he had a vision that was 30 years ahead of his time. And it's been 30 years since it was planned, obviously. And I think it opened in 97. So we're really close to 30 years. So just been big for our city. And to think what I look at things, you look at the Dome and what that event's brought to St. Louis. And who would have thought 30 years ago, the biggest short track event, not dirt late model event, not asphalt late model event, the biggest short track event in the world would be in St. Louis, Missouri, where the Rams played. Mm-hmm. Nobody would have believed that. Nobody. And you got that in Lebanon to a smaller scale. But we're very fortunate to have the ventilation system and have the city behind us on these dirt events. So I think, if somebody could talk the city into about a 100-foot expansion and a little bit bigger, we could knock a wall out and we could put on a hell of a race and have an actual indoor race like what they have in New Jersey. But, that's a pipe dream. And if that happens, I will rent the Civic Center out and I will promise I'll co-promote that one. But that would be, it's a pipe dream out. But we're really not far off, and really cool to see what we can do here now.
Well, we're recording this on December 17th. Have you put some more forethought into your plans for 2026?
Yeah. We are not going to Arizona. I love Chris Kearns and the Wild West Shootout. That was, my opinion, the most well-run event of the year because it's 2 weeks long. For what we've got going on in our businesses and our things that we are going to announce on this show coming up after the first of the year, it does not work out for us. We were looking at an ASA full-time schedule. I'm not doing that. I'm just, really focusing on trying to get our program headed the right direction for 2026. We had some really good momentum there at the Turkey Bowl. I had fun at the Dome, but realistically, the biggest thing, my mindset for the Dome was don't tear anything up. Get through the Dome. Your car's right. Don't mess it up. But a lot of big things and exciting partnerships to be announced in the next few days and weeks. We'll use this program in 2026 to announce a lot of these. But we are still looking at possibly an asphalt race or two before the dirt season kicks off. But as of right now, our season will kick off at Springfield Raceway on March the 20th and 21st with MLRA. We will go race Comp Cams the weekend after at Arrowhead, and we'll decide on the Mars. So it's MLRA, Comp, Mars, 3 weekends in a row.
Mars started in March or April.
They're April 3rd at the Nippy 50 again. So literally it's boom, boom, boom. And I like that. But I'm really looking forward to 2026. We're probably going to run full MLRA. I've kind of hinted around about that. And that's, I will either pick and choose or run MLRA full season unless something just drastically changes. If we got a sponsor or something like that, then we could go do some other things. But we're going to focus on that and try to hit as many races at I-44 Speedway as we can. Maybe venture out a little bit on the pavement side of things to really get a program developed for 27. We got a lot of partnerships on the asphalt side that we're looking forward to announcing soon, and just really ready for to really kick off 2026 in a good way. So hate missing the Wild West Shootout. I really actually have no Speed Weeks plans either. Just the way that our schedule works out with so much racing in March here now, I feel like Speed Weeks being pushed back 1 week on everything, it doesn't align with our schedule, which is okay. That doesn't mean that I don't hit my head and we don't go down for a weekend in February and race, right? But as of right now, we have no plans.
Well, NASCAR did settle the court case, so it's onward and upward.
Thank God.
Hopefully some positives come out of all this.
I think a lot of positives have came out since the settlement. Of course, you haven't heard anything, which is really we're recording this on a Wednesday. I really thought you would hear what the point system is going to be. I think maybe that's almost a good sign. I think I have heard that it's going to be a 10-race playoff. And I feel like where I heard that was right. But I don't think that that's completely, I think that was a 100% sure deal until this lawsuit settlement happened. I think that NASCAR had their eyes opened. You were watching a little bit from afar, but it looked to me like NASCAR was going to lose. Isn't that how you felt?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
So what do they need to do in your eyes to come back?
Listen.
That's the way I feel too. Listen. And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom and clean house to make it right. And
there will be some personnel changes within that sanctioning body.
I hope. And you know what? 2 weeks ago, I wanted to say, and I may have said on the show, but I really wanted to say, fire Steve Phelps. He's the biggest disease NASCAR's ever had.
I think you've made that point, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if I feel that way now after watching the court case. I feel like that Steve Phelps and the leadership was answering to Jim France. And I felt like Jim France's legacy, I still have so much respect for Jim France. It's like, I'll never lose that respect. I look at this door and I think of Jim France. Mm-hmm. I know what Jim France did for that door right there. I know what he did for the weekly racing series. I know Jim France knows the way. He's also 81 years old. In his defense, it's, he's in a different part of his life. You got to remember that is a family business, and that to him, that is his father's legacy. And Bill France Sr. ruled with an iron fist. And that is who he was taught by as his dad. He probably was being the way he was being a little bit because he felt like it's his father's legacy. It doesn't matter what what you build up with Larry Phillips and Jamie McMurray and Mike Wallace and Carl Edwards, that is great. Kevin Harvick, all these Winston Racing Series champions. That's completely gone by the wayside when it comes to family, right? When you have your father's legacy, that is different. I think that he realizes that it's not, nobody's after his father's legacy. He wasn't making a mistake by listening to these people. It seems like for all of Steve Phelps' faults, and he was vilified, rightly so. He also said these things when he was frustrated and mad, right?
Right.
And we've all made statements we have. Now, do I think Steve Phelps has done the right thing at NASCAR? No, I don't think Steve Phelps is the commissioner you need. I don't know if Mark Martin is. I love Mark Martin. I think that number in the center of that door, the way that number is the way that NASCAR needs to be. It bugs me more than anything. That bugs me way more than the damn lug nuts, because the lug nuts you only see at a pit stop. You see the number in the center of that door. And when they lose you as a fan, our family as fans, when they lost me as a fan, when I didn't care about NASCAR every week, that's where they went wrong. So does that mean that you need a leadership change? I think yes, because of that. But I'm okay with them not doing that as long as they figure out how to get right the ship and make it right with the fans. And I think they have a chance to do that.
Well, everything doesn't need to be a take it or leave it proposition. There needs to be some partnership involved there. And I think the lack of spectators in the grandstand, I mean, you can attribute that to streaming. You can credit that to streaming. It's certainly enhanced the revenue, but still, you'd like to see more butts in the seats, I think, too, at the venues. I
think that they can right the ship, but I think it's going to take, I think Steve Phelps is going to have to be the fall guy, because they're going to have a fall guy. I think he's got to go because of that. Maybe not necessarily what he's done, but because you got to have a fall guy, and you have to be able to just, they've hit rock bottom, they got to start over. So, thankfully for them, 2026 is around the corner. I was in favor of the chase all along, because I look at it like the St. Louis Cardinals had the worst record, were a wild card team in 2006. They won the World Series, and I don't give a damn that they're a wild card team in 2006. I just care that we won the World Series, so I'm okay with that. If we need to get back to full season points to get our fan base back, then let's do it. Let's do whatever we need to do to get our fan base back. Because if you could have a good product on the racetrack and you have your fan base back, everything else take care of itself.
Well, very good. All right. Look forward to 2026. A lot of big news coming up, and enjoy 2025.
Me too. And thank you for each week. I know it's been a lot of work for you too, doing this each week, but we've had a great time, and I can't wait for 2026. Got a few big things coming up, and I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas. Thank you guys for all your support all year. It's been a fun year. It's been awesome doing this with you again. And Ronnie Williams messaged me. He's retired. So Ronnie Williams is going to be a guest on our show in January, February. And I can't wait to get Ronnie in here and hear some history with him. So a lot coming up, but Merry Christmas, everybody. And thank you again, Kevin.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us for the B-Dub 3 podcast, brought to you by Schaefer's Oil, produced and presented by Swino Visuals.